All right, Benton. Dude, okay, so I was sitting yesterday and I was looking at this right here in my closet. Do you know what this is?
Oh boy, do I ever.
Poo-Pourri. Poo-Pourri. And then it dawned on me, my wife never shops, and you guys are probably the reason we bought this junk at our house. I mean, this is, when I say junk, whenever I first bought it, I was like, what in the world? Now we use it all the time. I think it's like the third bottle we used, right?
Life-changing junk.
How talk to me about this type of stuff, because I also have one of these suckers in my house, the Potty Squatty, right? And so talk to me about you guys and this journey of tackling some of the most like taboo, really iconic stuff here, taboo stuff here, and making it like, I mean, Super Bowl commercials and all this stuff. So I want to just jump right in to what it's like to work with these super big brands, how you got started, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, great questions. Yeah, so my partners, the brothers named Harmon, Jeff, Neil, and Daniel, they were all together at a company called Aura Brush, where they were, selling these tongue cleaners that you scrape your tongue with to get rid of bad breath.
Okay.
And they kind of pioneered YouTube marketing. Prior to that, YouTube was just like a platform where you would share like your cat videos and stuff.
Yep.
And of course, Google bought YouTube and decided to turn it into an advertising platform. And so right place, right time, Aura Brush and the brothers got to help develop what that looked like. And they made this ad. It was 2.5 minutes long, which was a really, really odd length. Typically you're either like, your 15 or 30 second ad, or you go all the way up to like an infomercial, which is, generally, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Yeah. So this 2.5 minute ad was a total oddball length. And so Jeff finished it and he started showing it to people, and everyone, including myself, gave him the same response. Like, it's too long, man. You got to cut it down to 30 seconds or else it's not going to work. Well, he reached out to YouTube and said, hey, can you guys give me a skip button so that if people like my ad, they can watch it, and if they don't want to watch it, they can just skip it and move on? And YouTube was like, that's an interesting idea. Let's try it. And so the YouTube engineers built the skip button that we now, we either love or hate, depending on who you are. And that was like a huge, huge moment in digital advertising. We didn't realize it at the time, but now looking back, that was a monumental shift, because prior to that, advertisers considered their audience captive. It was like, we can force feed you anything we want to because you're captive. But now give us a skip button, and all of a sudden the power shifts back to the viewer. And so now advertisers have the burden to give viewers something that they actually want to watch, something that they voluntarily choose to watch, and then they can like it, share it, comment, all that stuff. And of course, Facebook and Instagram are just a continuation of that trend, right? When you're scrolling through Facebook, you can see an ad and skip right past it if you want to. And so as advertisers, we have to give you something that you want to see. And so that trend and that pattern has been something we've continued for all through these years. You can look at all of our work from Squatty Potty to Poo-Pourri, Purple Mattresses, Chatbooks, Lumi Deodorant, and many, many others. Yes, those ads all help those companies scale by tens of millions of dollars each, right? But all of them also followed that pattern of, let's give the viewer something that they want to see, something that they want to watch, something that they want to engage with.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the quick backstory of how all this got started. And the group of us came together for Poo-Pourri. Poo-Pourri was the first campaign we did as a group. It was after the brothers left Aura Brush.
Yeah.
And then that snowballed into Squatty Potty and then Purple Mattresses and so on and so forth until today.
You guys like pioneered the skip button, which is like what, some of these new TV networks used to. We had to watch the commercials to get to the show, right? Now we skip through. Yep. And this is interesting, though. I'm trying to kind of get my head around this, but this plays right into, I think, the quality of content you guys do, right? Like, so now we put a conversion metric in the video, right? So it used to be, either they watch the video and they bought. Now, if they don't hit that skip button, you had this micro success, right? Because the step one is, hey, they did watch it, they did follow through, right? Yep. And so us as people in the video space and the marketing space, it allowed us to capture a moment there pre-conversion, right? Which gives us a really good indicator. So you guys, in a way, for advertisers, it sucks because people don't have to watch it. But in another way, it helps us, I think, create quality content, which you guys are freaking killing it at, right?
Yeah, I think it forces us to create quality content. And for the end user, for the viewer, that can only be a good thing. And so, yeah, there's some more burden on us as advertisers, but it's good.
Do you think, so when was this? What year was this when you guys left Orabrush and came over?
Let's see. So I think the brothers were doing that from like 2009 or 2010 through about 2013. And then 2013 is when they left Orabrush. I left my career at Deloitte. I was out in Washington, D.C. and working in the intelligence community. We joined up, the four of us. So it was the three brothers and myself. We did the Poo-Pourri campaign.
Yeah.
And admittedly, we didn't know we were ever going to become an agency. We were just like, hey, this is a really cool project. Let's go do it. And it was wildly successful. And then shortly after that, we co-founded a video streaming platform called VidAngel. And we all worked on that together for about a year or so. And in the beginning, it was pretty tough going. And we were starting to get towards the end of our runway. We were running out of cash. And so Daniel and I went out and started finding side work to, keep the lights on, keep food on the table. And one of those side projects ended up being Squatty Potty. And so then with Squatty Potty, we had another huge success on our hands. And so we decided that Daniel and I would stay full-time focused on building an agency to keep, going with that momentum. And Neil and Jeff would stay full-time focused on building VidAngel. And at the time we all joked that, one of them is bound to fail. So, might as well hedge our bets. But, fortunately, both are still going strong and doing really well today.
That's huge. That's a big lesson for us, right? Like, we stepped out. We were in the tech ed space when we first got started, and we were really good at marketing it, but we weren't really good at tech ed. And then it formulated in this marketing company. And so it's amazing how if you got a work ethic and you're really smart and you read the data, you guys read the customers, you realize that, hey, we really like this, passionate about it, but the people want something different. You guys shifted and molded, right? And how many team members do you have today, give or take?
Let's call it roughly 45.
Wow. Holy crap. And how many video production, cause you guys are doing these mass productions, right? How many, I guess, clients or big productions are you guys doing a year now these days?
So we have our huge hero campaigns. These are the nationwide campaigns that we're known for.
Right.
We don't do a ton of those. Call it maybe around 8 per year, 6 to 8 of those per year. Mm-hmm. But we also recognize that, so we have over 100 companies per month reaching out to us and asking for, hey, can you do for us what you did for Squatty Potty?
Of course.
And the simple reality is that only a tiny percentage of those are actually ready for that type of growth, that type of scale. And so we also have offerings for earlier stage companies so that we can help them lay the right foundation. And that foundation can be anything from, you think about things that could inhibit a company's scale, right? Supply chain, manufacturing, fulfillment, customer service, e-commerce architecture, message testing, market acceptance testing, all of those type of things that companies have to go get through to really have a proper foundation laid so then they can scale.
Yeah.
So we help, I think we have over 50 clients that we're helping kind of in those earlier stage areas. And then in the big stuff, it's, call it 6 to 8 per year.
That's awesome, man. So talk to me a little about this. This is where, at least for me, I enjoy the conversation even more. You guys have a really cool culture and really open culture. And I think I was doing a little listening early, and you guys, I think, focus a lot of your success based on that culture, right? So tell us a little bit about that culture. What made you guys start that? What testing did you guys do along the way, and how that's innovated over the last couple of years?
Yeah. So both Daniel and I are admittedly really crappy managers, and recognizing that was kind of a weakness, and not wanting to, manage people, if you will. We kind of tried to experiment with ways to just get people to manage themselves. Yeah. And of course, part of that just comes with hiring really great people. Really awesome people tend to really manage themselves really well. But there's also elements of how do you get all those people to interact together and work towards the same goals together and play nice together, and no backbiting and no drama. And, say a project, you're getting close to the finish line on a project, but it's going to take, maybe a really heavy push to get it over the finish line. Maybe there's going to have to be an all-nighter or maybe 2 all-nighters. We didn't want to be in a situation where we have to push that on our people, or go and say, all right, guys, bad news, got to pull an all-nighter. We just wanted to get the incentives in place so that people would just, when it needs to be done, they do it. And so we started experimenting with a peer allocation way of compensating our people. And it's developed and evolved over the years, but it has turned out to just be magical for us. And basically the way that it works is we promise every team member that they are going to get to share in half the profits on any given project. So half the profits get bonused out to the team, but they get bonused out through a peer allocation method. And it's actually pretty detailed and complex, but in a nutshell, basically what it means is, say there's 5 people on a project team, then all 5 people will get the opportunity to take their share of the bonus and divvy it out to their team members. They can't keep any for themselves. They have to divvy it all out to their team members. And so they get to make the decision as to how that distribution works. And so they're looking at how big of an impact did my teammate make? Did my teammate play nice? Was my teammate a headache to deal with? They're factoring in all of these things and divvying out the bonus in that way. And so it all happens anonymously. They don't see who gave what to who, but on the back end, that all gets compiled, and then everyone receives their bonus based on the contribution that they gave to the project. And it just totally eliminates all drama. It eliminates any backbiting, any office politics. It just gets rid of all of that. And so Daniel and I can be pretty terrible managers and get away with it because we just let our people do what they want to do. And then we let the incentives guide their behavior.
That's really interesting, man. Compensation, I think, is one of the biggest, things we look at as a company, and how we can pay more and how we can do better. And interesting. Okay. Just dig in there a little bit more. Is it just straight up, that's the rule? Or is there some type of leadership? Let's say, I suck at projects, and so nobody voted me. I got $10 out of it, right? Are you going to manipulate that any, or no, it's really simple?
As a general rule, the answer is no. So, I get final eyes on the numbers before they go out the door. But I can count on one hand the amount of times that I've had to make an adjustment. And the adjustment is never to, save somebody who didn't get enough or whatever. It's more just to make sure that the system's working. Yeah. And, in a couple of instances, the system we had to build iteratively over time. And as with all, systems, you kind of uncover problems. And so we had a handful of times where, we saw where we had made a flaw in the system and we had to adjust for it to fix it. But if somebody does, if somebody gets kind of shut out of the bonuses, it's because they either didn't contribute or they didn't play nice, one or the other, and we're not going to shield them from that.
Love it. What a better lesson than to not get anything from your peers, man. That would I would have hated if that was thinking back into like my college days where I partnered up with the smartest people in the room, and man, I would have been really screwed back then. And this really opens it up for you guys, right? So like you don't have a schedule, you don't have any, like you have very few rules and operational stuff around the office. That's pretty accurate, right?
Yeah. Work from home, work from the office. We don't care. Work local, work remote. We don't care. Just do awesome work. Be, a good teammate. Be a contributor. Put the client first. And all of those things tend to happen naturally, just because one, we hire awesome people, and then two, we've put the right incentives in place so that people just respond to the incentives, and it works out really well.
One last question about that. So we've even considered going, okay, how do we work from home? How do we make the office like really, really open? We've been working from home all during the pandemic, but there's a lot of meetings, right? So like every Friday we have a corporate meeting where we bring in a speaker, and then every Monday we have this. Do you guys do the same thing? It's just either they're there or they're not, or do you have certain, hey, on Mondays everyone has to be there type of thing? So
our goal is that any regularly scheduled meeting needs to be scheduled on Monday morning before noon. Because the thinking is that if we can't pack our regularly scheduled meetings into one half day, then we have too many regularly scheduled meetings. And so we kind of have to rethink and strategize around that. And the other reason we do that is because we want to batch them. Yeah. We want them all to happen in a batch so that then the creatives can have, uninterrupted, deep work focus time so that they can go deep and we're not pulling them out. Now that said, teams can call impromptu meetings whenever they need to. Hey, running into a problem on this project, let's put our heads together. They can do that whenever they want to on an as needed basis. But if it's something that's regularly scheduled, it's got to be on Monday morning before noon.
I love it. Last little thought idea that I want to talk with you about. You guys are a family business. You got the brothers. You're obviously a cousin. For me, this is really interesting. I really want my family involved with our company. In fact, our families as a whole are very involved in our company. But that comes with a lot of complexity as well. It's really hard to fire your brother or have those type of conversations, right? How have you guys found to overcome that and to have not only overcome it, but really have a lot of success through it as well?
What I've found is family businesses can either be really good or really bad. And in my opinion, the thing that differentiates the really good family businesses from the really bad family businesses is radical candor. That's a book that we have all of our employees read, and we really try to live by it and practice it. And it turns out radical candor is also really important to a business or to a culture, regardless of whether or not there are family ties. And in a nutshell, radical candor is basically a two-sided coin where on one side, people have to know that you care personally, so that on the other side of the coin, when you challenge them directly and you have blunt, hard conversations, they come out okay because they know that you care personally on that other side of the coin. And so what we found in terms of working with family is that fortunately, we've over the years developed that care personal side of the equation so that we know that we care about each other. We know we have each other's backs. We know that at the end of the day, even when hard things are said, that it's not personal. We genuinely care about each other. And that allows us the freedom to then have those blunt, direct, hard conversations and be able to get through them because we have that, care personal side backed up. And so that's a principle that we try to extend well beyond just the family relations. We want that to permeate the entire culture and every person here. And so we put a lot of time and work and effort into building relationships so that care personal part is there. And then we really push people to challenge each other, to not avoid the hard conversations, to dive in, to have those challenge each other, push each other. And as long as that care personal side is there, those conversations work out well.
I love it, man. I love it. Family is so important. And I feel that if, for me, I'm a better man when I'm around my kids, when I'm around my wife, it forces me. And so the more here at Hite, I don't have any brothers here, obviously, but the more we create a culture of family, I feel like just the better human beings we are, which is really kind of the circular that you're talking about. Right. That's awesome. One last question. This will be probably an easier one. Commitment. So we're really big on what are people committed to in the bigger scheme of things, and commitments like drive us, right? When things are bad or tough or hard, they help get us through there. At Hite, we're committed to creating 1,000 jobs. What about you guys, or even you specifically? What's the thing that like drives you that you're like, man, I want to accomplish this?
Mm-hmm. We call it our why.
Yep.
It's the thing that, Monday morning when corporate America is like dragging into the office and, stopping at Starbucks for the double shot.
Yep.
We instead wake up energized and excited and impassioned to go live our why. And our why is share better stories. And that actually has layers and layers of meaning. It's very deep for us. But in a nutshell, we want to share stories that make the world a better place. And advertising is one format through which we've been able to do that and do it very, very well. But it's not the only format that we get to share stories through. We're actually working on our first television series right now.
Oh, man.
And we hope that it's the first of many, and we hope that we'll also, get to make movies and, feature films and really flex the storytelling muscles that we have been developing for all of these years. Yeah. And we believe that the future of advertising is going to be married to entertainment anyways. Yes. In the same way that Netflix and Amazon have forced commercial breaks out of entertainment. It's forcing brands to think about, well, how do we become part of the entertainment instead of how do we interrupt the entertainment? And so we believe that flexing our storytelling muscles, both in the world of advertising and in the world of entertainment, are going to set us up to succeed long-term, because those two worlds are on a crash course anyways.
Yeah. And you guys have, you're the only advertising company I know at. We're an advertising company. You're the only one I know at that I look up your commercials online, like this one, and I end up clicking the next one. Now I'm going over to the Squatty, and then I'm going to go to the next, and people actually watching your advertisements as forms of entertainment. And that's huge, man. That's so incredible. I'm a big fan. If people want to follow you guys, where's the best place for them to connect with the Harmon Brothers?
Yeah, you can always reach out to us on our website, harmonbrothers.com, if you're interested in looking for some help from us. If you just want to kind of stay in touch with what we're up to here, here our podcast. Our podcast is Poop to Gold. A cheeky reference to our early work with Squatty Potty and Poo-Pourri. But it's also a reference to the theme of the podcast, where we recognize that all entrepreneurs have to overcome really crappy moments to achieve the success that they're looking for. Yep. And the podcast is all about uncovering those stories so that we can inspire entrepreneurs through their really hard times. Yeah. So you can check us out anywhere you listen to podcasts. It's from Poop to Gold.
Yeah, and I recommend that podcast. I've listened to most of your episodes, I think, over the time period. It gives me encouragement when I hear other people are failing as well and succeeding and overcoming. So this is awesome, bro. I really appreciate your time and energy and what you guys are doing. And if there's anything we can help, definitely reach out, and we'll definitely stay connected for sure.
Absolutely. I sure appreciate you having me on, and it's such a great opportunity to get to be here.
Yeah, brother. All right. Awesome. Have a good day.
You too.